Con, thank you for the sub. 17 months. Alrighty, what do we have going on here? We need Paul to join the chat. Once he does that, we're good. But for now, well, oh, why is that not? Am I not in the live? I am. I have to pop it out. That's the difference. There we go. Well, hello there. My name is Paul. I am in the military. I unfortunately like a team that didn't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament and should not be there. But because the tournament was extended to 68 teams from 64, I got blessed. Ooh, my daughter's never known anything but tournament play the entirety of her entire life. Because I hopped on the bandwagon of one of the greatest college programs ever created, despite not living anywhere near there. Not that I have much room to say on that matter, but I just don't think his team deserves to be in there. Meanwhile, he's apparently bullshitting with the rest of the loungers over there. Still refusing to come join us. So what else can we shit talk of, Pauls? Oh, Georgia Bulldogs? A dog? Farthest thing from it. He's a little pussycat, if anything. Well, what else does Paul like? I can't insult his one thing that he really likes. Because unfortunately, I do work for them. So that one, unfortunately, is in a bit of a gray area. Trying to think what else. Anybody got any good insults for Paul right now that we can hurl his way? If you won't, we will. I'd rather not go with my employer. The UNC with a chip on their shoulder gets top 8, kind of like Mizzou, right? Yeah. I think Mizzou has a better chance of going farther than UNC does, and that's saying something. Because I don't think they have much of anything. Hot take, the SEC is going to get clobbered this tournament, barring the top 3 teams, and that's it. Everybody else is going to get absolutely rocked. I know we're a top team because we all play within the same conference, but I'm legitimately worried about what that means for the tournament because the SEC has never historically been a good tournament conference. Remind him that he had a QB competition with Daniel Jones. Wow. Oh, he's got the glasses on tonight.
Yeah, I can take them off. I forgot I had them on.
He's going. Well, no, you're not gonna go nerd Paul tonight.
I mean, I could put the glasses on because I ain't gonna lie. I should put these on because it's March and everything's gotten a little clearer that a certain team might have been the wrong one that everyone was calling a fraud. And so these can help me see who the actual frauds are when I sit here and look around and I start going do. Oh, another quad 2 curb stomping that everyone says doesn't count and doesn't matter because we beat a team that wasn't even questioned. Wasn't even questioned if they should be in. They were a guarantee in. And what did Carolina do? Now all of a sudden we're favorites against Mississippi. All of a sudden everyone's saying this is just what they always do in March. This has no indication of how Carolina plays. Still doesn't mean it was fair. It's like, oh, okay. All right, well, how about you get yourself a Bubba Cunningham who can talk his way or your way into a tourney. And then on top of Bubba talking us into that tourney, allegedly, people are saying that, and obviously that can't be true or the NCAA would get sued out the wazoo, and they probably are going to, and they'll probably win. And because Florida State literally just tried to do this and said, Alabama had a guy on the committee when we didn't get in, and then all of a sudden Alabama gets in over us? What's this big whoop about? And everyone's like, well, that's not fair. And now they're doing it again. They're doing it again to Carolina, and what's Carolina gonna do? They get in, and what Alabama do when they got in? Oh, they lost. They did their best and they lost. And everyone said, well, that's good enough for us. They tried. They made the game interesting. What did Carolina do? I'm sorry. I hate to tell you all, they didn't make it interesting. They won by 30. I mean, could have been 40, could have been 50 at that point. They had the bench in. They put in literally the last dudes you can put in. They put in the last people you possibly can and won by 27. So, I don't know if America knows, but yeah, Carolina, when it's March, maybe early April, maybe you want to chill out when you say they don't belong. Maybe.
I can't wait
They
for
only
you.
have 134 tournament wins. Sorry,
I
what were you gonna
cannot
say?
wait for you to get absolutely pummeled before the Sweet 16. That's gonna be great.
Even if they did, they would deserve it more than anybody else.
Like I'm not denying that once you guys got to the tournament, I was like, okay, you're probably gonna do something. Okay. I didn't want you there for a completely different reason, and that is I just don't want to fucking deal with you. It's that
Yep.
simple.
That's why
Like
everybody doesn't want us there.
it's that
And
simple.
poor San Diego State, who's sitting there going, yeah, we're that much better than them. We should beat them. 13 best defense in the country, by the way, according to the metrics everybody wants to use that Carolina sucks against. And these people pull out their metrics and go, this is one of the best defenses in the country. Carolina goes, all right, here's a 90 piece on them. Like, we're just going to drop 90 on the best, supposedly best defense in the country. Running actions, honestly, I haven't seen all year. I didn't even know they play offense like that. This is the first time I've seen some of these moves. Like, they were legitimately bringing out stuff they haven't done all year. I have no idea why they waited till now, but I mean, I don't really care if they're gonna blow people out. Good for me. I am worried about them being a favorite against Mississippi. I don't like that. I
I
liked
think
being
they
an underdog.
no, I think they deserve to be honest. I think the SEC as a whole are frauds.
As a
I say
whole,
that
I mean,
I
not
say that as
Florida,
a Florida
Auburn.
Gator fan, okay? First and foremost,
Oh,
Auburn's number 1 is the most fraudulent number 1 in the history of the NCAA tournament. And
oh,
I will not
overall,
be told otherwise. Florida should have been above Auburn. There's no fucking excuse for us to be the 4th 1 seed overall. That's
yeah,
bullshit. Absolute
that
bullshit. On top, so now we get sent out to the West Coast, which is some shit for it's so dumb. Anyways, the problem with the SEC is that we have played almost exclusively SEC teams for the last 3 months. And
well,
the
everybody has to do that.
yes, but SEC ball is different than March Madness ball.
Yeah, it
And
is.
all of our teams, barring a few at the top, including likely Alabama, Auburn, Florida, those are the only 3 that I'm sitting here thinking, okay, should be safe.
Hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have how many? 12 seeds?
No, 14.
14. We'll be lucky to have 4 by the end of round 1.
I do think Mississippi matches up well with Carolina for their sake. Although it does suck for them that they're short because Carolina's also short. So usually that's our problem. And when that's taken away, that does suck for people. But I'm going to assume they're fast. Because if you're short, you got to be
SEC is
quick.
historically a fast conference. So,
Yeah, they like to play. And I think the SEC can keep up. I mean, Bama, Florida, and Auburn are your best hope. I'm sure the rest of your middle teams are gonna. I mean, it's gonna be tough for them
yeah.
because you have a lot of teams that are getting a lot of love, and it's a little strange.
They're only getting love because our top side is so strong that they're getting pulled up with them. At least in
And
my
you
opinion.
guys, no, your bottom half did do really well to start the year. The issue is for like this is the same problem the Big Ten has had. But the SEC has obviously won more recently, so I hold them higher in basketball, which is insane to say. And but the Big Ten like will start strong every year because the SEC and the Big Ten kind of do the same thing, but I see some teams get away from it. But ultimately, like your Auburns and your Tennessees do the same thing as the Big Ten, and it's play big, tough ball and good defense to start the year. And then when tourney time comes, the ACC does the same thing to everybody every year, and it's why they like constantly have people overperform. Is they just go, we've been working on guards for 3 months, and that's it. We've been just working on guard play. And the Big 12 does the same thing too. They go,
Yeah.
all we've been doing is working on guard play, and our bigs rebound, and defense is for losers. And then they show up and just start shooting a bunch, and everybody goes, well, this sucks.
The only thing I will say for us is that we've had some pretty heavy defensive games. Like I've never seen
Yeah,
ACC games end with like the winner having like 50, like it's like 50 to like 35. Like
yeah,
it's been weird having SEC games like that. Normally it's like 100-point games whenever you get to some of the best teams, but like it slowed down at points this year, which I was surprised by. I just think that we
yeah,
are like, I hope not a lot of people pick us, even though they probably will, but I am feeling really good about this tournament. We're healthy
yeah,
going into this. As long as we can get out of San Francisco and this West Coast swing, fine. I think we're set for a run. Duke is the only one, assuming they get their star back, that I'm a little bit worried about. He's the only one.
yeah. Duke is gonna be tough. Uh, I mean, yeah, Lunar said last year it was Big East, Big Ten. Yeah, Big East is just a magical conference. I don't know how they do it.
Every
The
time.
Big East, like, will just have a team that magically is great, and UConn's been great lately. But I mean, they've been great for most of the 2000s, I
I was
guess.
gonna say
But
they've been great for all of our lives. What are you talking
yeah,
about?
they've just been great. And well, they go so up and down though.
Yeah,
That's why I meant lately, because like they'll win a title, and I mean now they've won two in a row, but usually like they win a title and then their coach gets fired like 4 years later because they suck so bad after it. It's really weird to me because
yeah.
they've won six titles or something in the two since 19 something, 1990 something, and they've gone through three head coaches to do that. That's not like normal to have that much turnover. But the Big Ten, I just give no love to. I mean, the Big Ten is so overrated. They were in the final last year, and good for them. But if you haven't won in 20 years,
I mean,
like,
we're coming up on that.
what do you want me to do? Lie?
It's been 2000. It's been since 2007 for us. It'll be 20 years in
Well,
2027.
you guys are one team though. They're a whole conference.
Okay, yeah, fair, fair.
I mean, they're one of the richest conferences in America. Like for college sports, they
Yeah,
can win a football tourney and they can't win basketball. Like basketball should be way easier, especially because they have allegedly a lot of basketball schools.
yeah. Wisconsin would have won
Yeah,
COVID
woulda,
year.
shoulda,
Would it?
woulda.
Nope. We ain't dealing with would haves.
Yeah, woulda, shoulda,
If we
coulda.
were dealing with would haves, Team Liquid would have won first stand. But alas, here we fucking are. A week
Yeah,
later, after I was talking all that shit, we're
he got
talking
mentioned
about
in Shock's
we're
thing.
yeah, that was an interesting one to wake up to, of her just absolutely roasting the shit out of me on it without saying a word. She didn't say a single word, and I'm just sitting there getting secondhand embarrassment the entire
Yep.
time as she's sitting there mock crying me. I'm like, God damn, really? It's tragic. It's tragic times. Navaja, lol, thank you for the follow. So,
How it is. If you put enough stuff out there, something's gonna kick back.
yeah, it. Ugh. We haven't talked since first stand wrapped up, since we got knocked out. I don't think. Have we talked since that?
We played Flex Q one night,
We did, but I don't think we
but we
talked
haven't
about.
like
No, we
talked
haven't
about
like
League.
talked about league though.
Yeah, no.
What was your takeaway from that tournament?
Unfortunately, it feels like Korea's like the the gap is allegedly closing for, I guess, China, but Korea is like so astronomically wider than it ever has been that I really don't think anybody can beat them. Because to be honest, if China can't, I don't think anybody else can.
I mean, Hava Life did for a game. Or no, not Humble Life. K Corp did for a game.
Yeah, K-Core and LTL took a game off them. I mean, I think they were throwing, but
And then
they took a game off them.
K Corp decided to get what? It was three, 2 or 3 towers, like 3 kills, and like it
Hmm.
was bad. They got stomped. Like we talk about TL getting stomped in finals, which is a stain we're never gonna get to live down, unfortunately. But like games 2 through game 4 of that final were just brutal. A savage reminder from
Very.
Korea that like, hey, you can make us bleed a single drop of blood. We're gonna invincible your face then,
Yep.
and nobody stands a
And
chance.
I mean, it's unfortunate because it's like it honestly, with the off time for the tourney and with the way the viewership was, you can't really blame anything because like what unless you're a diehard K-Core fan, to be honest, you knew how that series was gonna go and it wasn't worth messing up your sleep.
No, no, it was not.
Like you could watch the highlights and just move on. And I felt like a lot of people felt that way about it. I don't know many people who actually bothered to stay up for it. I would
I
say overall first stand was no, I don't want to call it a failure, but I wouldn't call it I don't think they did great. I don't think it was
yeah.
great for Riot in the for the first one.
Our metric, or at least the one that I said, was 80%. I want it to be
Yep.
80% of MSI. It did not hit that mark.
No.
It did not come close to that mark. It was like 50%, right around. And
No.
that's
Yeah.
not good. Like that's a if you're calling this an international event, which they're claiming it to be, that is not good.
I
You
mean
did something wrong.
it turned up more towards the end. We cracked 1 million on the last day, which was good. But it definitely was one of those like, oh man. Like the amount of I think the sevens and the eights aren't bad, but for most of it, I would say that's like it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
not perfect, I would say. It was interesting. I mean, the whole crowd stuff was really weird too, how they handled K-Core fans and like telling them they can't do certain chants. I thought that was strange. Overall, it just felt like an odd look for Riot
Yeah.
from Attorney. It just felt a little weird.
Were there more fans in the lobby cheering than there were in the stands?
I mean, possibly.
Like that was the
There's a
weird part. They kept
chance.
like it was funny. Like they kept show like normally you pan to the crowd. You have all these interesting moments like that, and every time that they showed the crowd, I was like, okay, I know the studio holds like 500 people, but they keep showing the lobby because it's
Hmm.
packed shoulder to shoulder with people out
Yeah.
there. Now, granted, it's probably a smaller space and it's gonna look bigger than like the actual studio, which has a higher ceiling and everything else there. But like you give me the chance to sit with the K Corp fans or in the arena,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm sitting with the K Corp fans. They sound like they're
Yep.
having a more fun time than what Korea's doing.
I agree.
I don't know what to tell you.
I agree. I mean, it was, and then like for the K-Core fans to be like, "Hey, we basically got told we need to shut up and like chill and all this stuff," and people were saying, "Well, you guys can't be jerks, so it's fair." And some people like you could tell both sides were kind of sitting there against each other, and I know K-Core stirred up a lot of animosity in the scene in previous times, but it was just strange to read everything basically saying you guys are too excited and we don't like that here. So please go away. Like Koreans just being like you can't do that here. We don't want you to cheer in that way. It's not the way we like it. Is so strange of a thing. Like honestly, I in my mind, I think it should be called into question their hosting in the future.
Oh, you're
If you
willing to
won't
go that
respect
far?
well, I just mean if you're not gonna respect other regions coming to your region, and like you're gonna call them abusive for cheer. I don't think anything K-Core did was like weird chants.
No. No, I don't. I
Like,
wholeheartedly like after reviewing the footage multiple times now to try and like catch what I was missing that like Degon and others were saying that was going on. It's like I didn't see anything wrong. It's just not. It doesn't blend in with what the Korean fans do, which I get. You're in their home and you're in their house, but maybe it's because I'm comparing like America to America in this situation. But like if fans of an opposing team come into your house and outsell you, they're gonna be loud enough. Like there's pride
yeah,
in like outnumbering you in your own fucking stadium. Like that is like something that like you get obnoxious about for obvious reasons. And it's like I don't get the hate against it at all.
yeah, yeah. I can't say I loved the way Korea hosted this event, especially because like NA got a ton of hate when we booed Korea, and that's just how we watch sports. And everybody just got mad, and all I could think of was like, what what do you want this to be? Do you want it to be fun, or do you want this to be something where we all just sit here and go, "Oh yes, that was something that happened. That's good that happens." Do a golf clap and walk away. Like even golf has honestly
Oh,
embraced going hardcore in the paint more than Korea will. Like I
all
don't get it, and they win.
all I'm saying is my goal is to get kicked out of the Ryder Cup this year. I and the worst part is I ain't even gonna be drunk while doing it. I'm not drinking because like the amount of walking that I'm gonna
Really?
be doing during like the day that I'm at the Ryder Cup is gonna be obnoxious. But if you
Hmm.
think did you see that video of like Rory McIlroy grabbing somebody's phone and like taking it away?
Yes.
Dude, I'm fucking chirping Rory 20 times what that kid said. And you best believe he tries to take my phone. Uh-uh. It ain't happening.
Is that allowed at the Ryder Cup? Is
I
that a
don't
thing
know,
they
but
do at
you
it?
try and interact with a New York crowd, you're good.
Oh,
You're
I
fucked
see.
if you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
you're doing
yeah,
anything about that. It's
yeah.
like, oh man, dude, I'm doing anything I can to get in every single fucking European's head to
Hmm.
make sure that they can't do it. And there was that clip. The problem where they fucked themselves now is there was a few years ago a clip of a dude that was chirping, and I think it was Rory McIlroy, like held out his putter and was like, "Well, you come make this putt." And they laid down $100 bill right in front of him as this random Joe Schmo goes up onto the green, and he makes the putt. And obviously, he was a good sport.
Oh,
He was a good
yeah,
sport after. I'll show you the clip after the podcast. It's great. But if you think
yeah,
that after seeing that, I'm not fucking chirping my mind all out, you're insane.
yeah.
Rory McIlroy is gonna leave with mental scars of that one fucking 6'4" dude in the back with some fucked up shirt on. I'm gonna try and body paint my entire self red, white, and blue.
Oh
Like
gosh,
I'm fucking ready. Like that's the environment that
that
in
will be
my
fun.
mind is like I'm fucking with you. Korea comes over
Yep.
here. I get I'm in a minority for esports on that front. Like there's not enough people. There was like one dude with like overall suspenders at Worlds when it was here last time. Dude, if I could
Yeah.
just get people to just buy into that shit, dude, we'd have like the players might not feel it, the fans would fucking hate me. And I'd be
Yep.
all for it. Oh, dude, I love it. It's my favorite part of the shit. And I know I saw it in chat. John said everything I hate about sports fans. Good. Good. I'm
Yep.
glad you hate it. I'm so glad you hate it because it just
Yep.
fuels me more to make you do it.
I get why people didn't like the one where they booed Faker, right, in that
That,
exhibition match.
yes, that I get.
Whatever. You invite him, don't boo him.
Yes.
I'm saying though at Worlds or Attorney, I think it's fair like to cheer in a way that you cheer
Yeah.
for the actual event that matters. And I don't understand how like you want to host an international League of Legends event and you tell another region, "Hey, we get you guys flew out here, paid money to be here, put money into our country, with tourism and all that, and like buying hotels, plane tickets, whatever." And you go, "But we don't like the way you cheer, so please leave." Like that's just a great way to get everybody to be like, I hope they never host again.
Yep.
Because if they host, we're basically not allowed to go.
Yep.
Like, we can't participate, we can't do anything. They just ruin the whole event.
Or you have to adhere to like strict standards, and it's like, okay, fine, but like you're gonna miss the fan side of it. Which I like. Here's my thing, and here's my counter to that. People are gonna be like, oh well, the events will still sell out anyways. Do you need me to pull up a picture of the times that Korea wasn't playing at Worlds
Yeah.
in the year that they had it? Because those like quarterfinals when NRG was playing was a ghost town.
Yep.
It was oh dude, there was nobody there. None. There were like maybe 250 people in the stands. And it's like, that's when you need the diehards of that org who know they're going to get their shit pushed in to show up. Imagine that was K Corp. That entire stadium would have been rocking. And it's like, that's the type of people that you want traveling to events like this and going to shit like that. And it's like, I don't like when we push it out. But hey, whatever. Your arena, your thing. Here's the thing they got to realize. If K Corp gets an international event in Europe and plays against Korea on home soil, oh, I don't want to know what the French fans are going to do to any Korean team that's there. Oh, I don't want to know. It's going to be bad.
That's what I'm thinking though as well. Like, all you're doing is setting yourself up for the moment of like when you go to their tourney or you have to finally go to their home soil, they're going to be booing you so hard for the way you treated them. So hard. And it's honestly is going to be justified. Like, it's 100% going to be justified. I don't know how you convince yourself it wouldn't be. But I mean, Koreans are also the most like, what is it called? They're the most, I would say, babied fan bases of them all. I mean, they get constant support. They win a lot. So whenever something goes wrong, all they do is lash out as intensely as possible and as terribly as possible. And then whenever any other fan base acts even a remotely close way to them, they act like it's barbarism or something that has come into the scene. And I just can't buy it when you're buying trucks to drive in front of team headquarters. Your region has a problem with DDoSing one of your teams. You're not just a bunch of angels over there. You're not good people or something. I mean, you have legitimate criminal activity going on. Like, I just don't buy it. And I know Riot has to treat them well because they're the biggest region we got. So, I mean, in my mind, they get babied pretty hard, to be honest.
So then, you provide an interesting transition. Let's go to the big topic that I know some people are here for, because I'm looking at these numbers and there's way too many people watching on YouTube for a normal podcast week for me not to know exactly what some people are here to talk about.
Yeah.
And that is the T1 Guma UC, Joe Marsh, which weirdly one of the journalists in the space, Kevin Hitt, had a problem with how I worded this, despite the fact that I was just quoting T1's statement. For those that are out of the loop, Guma UC is starting for T1 in the LCK, but he's only he is starting because Joe Marsh requested that he start because it sounds like coaching would have preferred Smash to play. And Guma fans have been very vocal on Twitter. Very vocal. Like to the I haven't seen I remember like the truck era of T1 where it was like trucks each and every week is like they're changing out rosters back in like 2021-ish during COVID, whenever people had like nothing better to do with their time other than just like, you know, spend a couple bands, send a truck. Kind of funny, but get a message across at the same time. It's like, sure. The amount of people that I saw claiming to be T1 fans, but were actually just fans of like that particular like roster and players on it, not necessarily like T1. Like you're a fan of T1 by proxy, not because you're actually like a diehard fan of T1 on that front, was wild. But there's an interesting dynamic to be discussed on the Joe Marsh versus coaching thing.
So did they recently re-sign Guma?
This past offseason, they re-signed him for a 1-year deal. Yes.
Okay. So he probably feels like they owed him.
And they played,
I
I think, two full series with him at most. I think 2
Did
series. And
coaching
then,
not want them to re-sign Guma?
so what Joe said was that, or what Joe told me, and what I think was on the statement, but I know like was explicitly made clear to me, was coaching wanted to do this project for the LCK Cup, hence the January to March timeline that apparently Joe had agreed upon with coaching staff. In February, that changed. That to me means coaching staff saw how good Smash was doing. We all saw how good Smash was doing and was like, yeah, we're going to start the kid. We're going to keep him in. Because I think like Coma at the end of the day wants to fucking win. Doesn't give a shit about like, I mean, he's a storied coach for a reason. In my opinion, he's going to do everything he can to put himself in the best position to win. And if he currently thinks that's with Smash, he's going to pick Smash. He does not give a shit about the legacies. He does not give a shit about contracts. He wants to win. And if that's who he thinks is the one that's going to do it, he's going to do it. Joe Mar stepping in to say, hey, like regardless of whether it was done respectfully, disrespectfully, it doesn't matter. You are coming in to then tell your coach, like, hey, I want you to start this person. And clearly it's a good thing that nobody quit in this situation. Because like in these cases, like you compare it to like American football, there have been times where people in the front office overstep the coach. And generally when that happens, the coach quits most times.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that nobody quit, that there's not an uproar or anything else, at least as of now, suggests that everything's on amicable terms between all of them, despite what would be considered like a power imbalance. It just sounds like they had a conversation about it and that's it. But like, that raised alarm bells in my head whenever I first read it. That's like, oh, what you said, screw the coach, more or less. Like, I'm gonna do this. Like, that's how it came off whenever I first read it.
I mean that's probably gonna, as long as the team is cool with it, it's fine. I would say that's where it has to be okay.
Yeah.
If the team is okay, everything can keep moving. Coaches will get over it, and they know they want to win, so they're gonna coach the roster they have to play. If that's how it is. But if the players like think that they're getting slighted, that's where it can definitely creep in. I don't think Faker is one to tilt because of that, but I don't know about the rest of them. I mean, they do have Dorn, so that changes a lot because it's not Zeus up there, and Zeus is honestly playing pretty insane for Honda.
Kinda. Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, he's just still playing great. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, Smash looked really good to me
Okay.
when
Oh god, sorry.
in
I was gonna cut you off.
LCK. No, I was just saying Smash looked really good, so I don't know why they would be mad about having to or why they'd be mad about leaving him in if you're the ownership and you think he's good. I
mean,
guess you're just mad because you signed an extension.
but
already?
I mean that plus also, let's be honest, like objectively speaking, take all the drama, take all the politics out of this. Which one's better for your brand to start, Guma or Smash?
Probably Guma, yeah.
Exactly. It's better for business. Like I'm not saying that's the reason, obviously. But I'm just saying that like I can understand from a business perspective why you would want the branding of that there. But at the end of the day, I don't understand the Guma fans that are trying to act like Smash wasn't good. There are different arguments that you can make for why Guma should be starting. Trying to say that Smash wasn't one of the best ADCs in the LCK during the LCK Cup is a fucking wild one to try and go with. You're losing your argument before you even begin. The second you try and like do that.
I mean, it's strange. It is a strange one the more I think about it.
But I look, I get I know where the fan perspective is coming in. because John like showed it clearly in chat. He said being fans of players is greater than being fans of a team. Here's the problem: the business operates from the team's perspective, and the
Yeah, it's really
reality
bad
is
for business.
sports that are not individual team sports operate best whenever you have fans of teams, not fans of players.
Mm.
And unfortunately, the I know like the NA men crew like are really saying that this is like a derogatory statement against women whenever this is mentioned. But K-pop fandom does favor the individuals rather than the teams. Naturally. Like everybody has their favorite members of individual groups and they like how the individuals go along, but they don't care about like the name or anything else beyond that unless there's like a specific culture tied to it. It favors the individuals, which is fine. There's nothing to do with gender or anything else. It's just how K-pop is set up. So whenever people
Yeah.
complain about K-pop fandom, there is an element of sexism to it. Not denying that. People are using it as like a suit. People are using it in the same way that we use that people in the United States use DEI as like a passive way to say the M word. Like there are people that are doing that. But there is a note to be made about some of that culture that is like, okay, K-pop fandom does prefer, in this case, the players, not the teams.
Oh,
Simply put,
yeah.
like it
Yeah.
is players and their branding and their messaging and what they mean to the orgs rather than the org, like vice versa, and how we, or the majority of people in the United States at least, and Europe, who support their club over everything, think. It is different entirely. So there's a clashing of the cultures there.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I mean, I just don't think supporting players over teams is sustainable, really, for League of Legends. It's not very great to keep it going forever. I mean, it hasn't worked so far, I guess, is what matters. Because teams, what teams are making money in League?
T1. Um,
Which we've never seen them without Faker, so it's hard to know.
yeah, impossible to tell. I don't know. I legit nobody
Yeah.
talks. Nobody's public
Nobody
financial
really
statements are
puts
out there.
numbers.
Like it's tough to tell. K Corp, we don't know if K Corp's positive anymore because they took on some capital recently to try and expand their business. So I'd imagine they're probably actually in debt right now,
Oh
but
yeah,
like
they're
still
probably
trending.
the one who could be.
They could be, but I would assume that like K Corp is in that phase where they can take on debt and grow revenue streams in the future, as they're doing with the stadium and other stuff like that. But it takes a lot of money up front to build the stadium, to get the infrastructure set up, to do all that. I can't imagine they're positive yet. They probably were when they were operating like break even, like small business, but now I'd imagine they're dipping into the red to eventually go back up to green.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, pretty much everybody else that I can think of, it's like, how do you expect the orgs to make enough money to keep pushing this stuff if it's all player driven and nobody's really a fan of the org? But I mean, that's been League's problem for a while. And it's just not, I mean, it's not great. And we've seen it kind of crush teams. I mean, LEC is the one that's like putting in the most amount of effort to make people actually fans of the teams.
Yeah.
Not just the players themselves. And it's paying off for some of these LEC teams. I mean, Koi and K-Core are looking fine. I think Fnatic and G2 could survive most people leaving. G2 will be interesting to see when Caps leaves, but they survived when Perks left.
And
So
they
they've
also
been through at
were
least two
there well
iterations.
before Caps even joined G2. So,
Yeah, they were very large. So I think those teams over there, they have like 4 teams I can think of who could survive players leaving, and they would keep doing their thing. LCK, I really don't know enough. I would think Gen G and T1 could if players left, but we'll never
yeah.
know with T1 until Faker leaves.
Even then, I think
And we'll
Faker will
never know
still
with
be
Gen
part.
G till Chovy leaves.
I think for T1's case, though, Faker will probably still be involved with the org now. So like I don't think it.
Yeah, I would
I
assume
think
so.
of T1 in the same way that I think of Optic with Scump. Of like
Mhm.
Optic eventually became Scump and and Hex and all of them. And even after he retired, he then just kept going as part of the org in some capacity. I would imagine that it will probably be the same for T1, where he'll still be involved in some way, shape, or form. So like there will be that like familiar element to it. I'm not saying it's content, but there's just some capacity to which I feel like he will be involved enough to the point where like it will help people be okay with it and like transition
That's
into long-term T1
very
fandom.
interesting. Tima99 said in Korea, even in baseball and football, people are fans of players rather than teams, so teams will keep their popular players. Just like even if they, assume even if they go bad, to keep profit. That's very
That's
interesting.
what that is so different
That's
from
something the
American
West
culture.
could
No,
never understand. I don't even think Europe could understand that.
no, because
I mean, could you imagine a football or I mean, I guess soccer fans like watching a guy leave and saying, "Well, I'm not a fan of Arsenal anymore," or like not a fan of Barcelona or Real Madrid. I mean, I think even when Cristiano Ronaldo left, I still saw Real Madrid stuff go crazy in
oh yeah,
numbers.
absolutely,
And Barcelona stuff still goes crazy in numbers when Messi left.
yeah.
And in basketball, you don't. Bulls fans didn't just go away when Jordan left.
They
They've just
dropped a
stuck
number.
around.
Like you lost the people that bandwagoned onto Jordan, but
Yeah,
like they
for
still
Jordan.
Chicago fans still had like massive like
Yeah,
the
when I
Chicago
mean
Bulls
when
are still
LeBron
massive.
left Cleveland, Cleveland's now selling out again with a good team. I mean, they're back to operating well. They're probably I mean, honestly, you're probably more profitable because you're not paying as many luxury taxes, but like you you don't see that happen. I mean, even the Miami Heat haven't just like disappeared. I mean, Miami's a pretty fair weather city, so it's tough to
Well,
gauge.
no, I'll tell you the one that got used against me because the Name and crew kind of rated my tweet yesterday about this whole Guma situation. They started pointing to Dallas and how like there were news articles saying that like once Luka Doncic was out, that restaurants start or bars started seeing a decline in business and all this. Is like, yeah, that's gonna happen. You lost
Yeah.
one of the faces of the NBA. You will
Yep.
lose fandom. There will be people that speak out. But you know what? They're going to be fine in the long run. Like, regardless of how bad it is, guess what?
Hmm.
Dallas Mavericks fans are still going to be Dallas Mavericks fans. You might lose a couple thousand. Fine. People are going to sell their season tickets out of rage, but I'd be willing to bet people will buy them up later. Like, it's a
Yeah.
1 year
People come
blip,
back.
and then people will come back because the loyalty here is different than elsewhere.
And I mean, that's legitimately even the Cleveland thing is like it. Yes, it took time after LeBron left. I mean, when was that? 2017-ish. But we're in 2025, and 2 years ago, when they got Darius Garland and Mobley, and then Donovan Mitchell comes a couple years ago, they've started selling out again regularly. Like it only took them around 5 years to get back to selling out games again, which really isn't that bad in the grand scheme. I know for League, that's and me and Colin were laughing last night talking about how one problem in League is that I've watched 8 NCAA tourneys in the last few years, but I've seen 16 LCS winners. And so it feels like you've been watching forever, but in reality, it hasn't really been that long.
No.
And but that you think about LCS and you're thinking about players who've left that have really mattered. Well, TL lost DL and they survived. C9 lost, High and Ball Sneaky, Medios Elimination. They've survived. TSM loses Bjergs and they die. CLG loses DL, they die. Like you think about all these teams that have died, so it makes you go, hmm. I mean, even Rogue peaks for one season in LEC, they die. They didn't even lose their best player, I guess, though. Well, they lost some
Yeah.
players and they also just got worse. But you have a lot of orgs that just die in these leagues, which makes it a lot weirder than professional sports that we're used to, because you can see a lot of bad stuff happen. I mean, even the what is it? The Pittsburgh Pirates still exist.
Hey, we got skis. Fuck you.
Yeah, but I just mean, you know what I mean, though. Like, you know, like a team like that, if that type of team can live forever, a team that openly says we sell players to make money off them because we like money, like that is the definition of our league makes sure that everybody lives. And that is an important thing, to have a league that makes sure that the teams live and that eventually teams can get back around to being better, or at least the owners at owners meetings push the owner to try to get better. You have to have that. And I just don't think league is quite at a point where they can do that and are doing that. And especially with people just following players, it makes it even harder. I mean, and with following players, you see orgs legitimately die
Yeah.
when some players leave or lose viewership by a ton,
Yeah.
which is not great. I mean, if you really think about it, TL and C9 have lived, but are they living well? That's a whole nother conversation. I wouldn't say they're doing great. The
No,
stipend is probably paying a lot of things for them, but I wouldn't say they're making great money off this venture.
I find it hard to believe that they would be.
Yeah, outside of the stipends. Like they've survived, I'll put it that way. They've survived all those great players leaving, but they're holding on for dear life. I mean, we're sitting at
Well,
almost
they
double
got Saudi
digits.
money now. They're fine.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm sure they'll just burn that just as well.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it just hasn't worked the more I think about it. And that's what's nice about Mad though, is they signed JoJo, and JoJo is a very popular brand of mid laner, whether or not people like him or not. And though, when JoJo and who's their jungler? Elyoya leave, Mad will still exist.
Yeah.
And they'll be fine. And that's good.
Nutting Milk said professional sports teams have been around for decades and they have a draft, so at least there's hope. Brother, tell that to us college sports fans that all it takes is one bad year of recruiting and you could be looking at 20 plus years
That's true.
of recovery period. And you just keep waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for right around 20 years for the Florida Gators to be good again. Like good
Yeah.
in football and basketball. 20 years. If you think that I'm worried about a slight dip at all, like a 4-year dip in my teams, 100 Thieves could be the last place team in the league for the next 5 years. You know what I'm going to do going into that 6th year? All right, boys, this is the time. This is how we draft. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to get our way back to the top. This is going to be the time. And you just stick with it. Like, it's blind loyalty. I saw a comment in chat earlier. It was like, well, how do you support teams? You just do. I don't have a good explanation for you. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it other than I know shitty things happen. I know some of these org owners don't give a fuck. I know some of the team owners don't give a fuck. Hell, Clippers fans had to sit there with a fucking racist owner for what, 20 years? Give or take, that they knew was a piece of shit. And guess what? You can't control it. You got to wait until they fuck up really bad and get them out of there. But you stay with it. Like, there's nothing other than just like blind loyalty. And that's all it is. Like, it's just blind loyalty. And does it make sense? No, not at all. You technically should not stay in these situations where people don't give a fuck about you. But you know what? We care. And that's all that matters, is that we care.
And that's what makes sports great. I mean, college sports is just an enigma, I think, to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Because we're just so psycho with college sports. And that's just how it is. I mean, you have legitimately, like, in states that can't afford professional sports, like West Virginia, you have the governor suing the NCAA over a decision. And then you have, like, everyone in the world attacking North Carolina fans. North Carolina fans just sit there and go, don't care, to be honest. Keep whining. And then they win a game, and all their fans go, where is everybody? Come on back. And they're like, what the fuck? And that's what makes college crazy, because it's an insane place for insane people.
Look, I'm happy that Tugbud said this. He said blind loyalty doesn't mean you can't give criticism for fucking up the teams and making moves you don't like. I'm not saying that. And you're saying that to the person who bluntly put like his org on the most amount of fucking blast you possibly can on social media in a way that not many other people have the ability to do. Okay? I could have
Mhm.
burnt some pretty bad bridges that day, and luckily I fucking didn't. The difference is I'm not out here saying like denouncing my fandom for the team because of a fucked up decision from somebody. Like
Yep.
that's the difference. That's the blind loyalty part of it. Is you were going to criticize, you were going to like ridicule, mock, ask for people to be fired. You're going to do all this shit. But at the end of the day, you know what never changes? X team strong at the end. Like you're still supporting that team.
Yep.
And that's the difference between what's going on with T1 fans right now and the traditional sports world. I know it wasn't at me. I'm using this because this is the tweet that I replied to yesterday that people just couldn't fucking comprehend. They're like, well, you don't have to be a fan of the team then afterwards. It's like, yeah, you kind of like if you're gonna be a diehard fan, yeah, you stick with the team through thick and thin, and you ask for new ownership, you ask for new GMs, you ask for new coaches, you ask for everything, but the brand is the paramount thing. Regardless of whether it stands for something or not, the brand is the paramount thing. This meaningless fucking logo, combination of numbers, combination of letters that has no semblance or meaning on anything else in fucking life. Guess what? That is the end all be all. I'll name my kids after that thing. I don't give a shit. That is like the level
Yep.
that like I get why so many people in esports cannot comprehend that. Fine. But don't look at me like I'm fucking weird for thinking it when the rest of America thinks that way as well with their teams.
Yep. I mean, you have to. The Pacers did the Malice in the Palace. And the other night, Andrew Nemhard gets shouldered in the face by Rudy Gobert, throws a ball, literally just goes, you know what? I hate you. Just throws a ball at him as hard as he can, and they're about to fight, and I was like, that's pretty sick. Even as a fan who watched his team get into a fight so bad it ruined his franchise for 10 years, I was still like, I love that fighting. I love it when they get up there and they care about this game. It gets you going, and it's just how it is. And if you sit there and you're like, you know what, the Pacers have stunk for a while. I can't do this anymore. I gotta go. I mean, right now, if I, as a Colts fan, I could do that.
Yeah.
There's a very real world where I, as a Colts fan, watching what Jim Irsay has done to that organization, could say, I can't handle this anymore. I need to get out of it. And I don't think people would be mad at me, except for the fact that it's a total brat move in
Exactly.
America. That's such a brat move.
It
And
is.
one thing, when you were saying that, I thought about was like one of the worst things I hate is when people say, my team made a bad decision. I'm mad about it, blah, 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 which they're rightfully criticizing, like Steve said. That's true. And then you end it with, and if this keeps up, I'm leaving. That's such a brat move to say that. It's so stupid to go, I'm leaving. It's like, okay, were you ever really a part of it if you're leaving that easy? Did you ever really believe in this if you're just gone when the going gets tough? It's like, that's not how it works. That's not how this is.
Nope.
That's not fun.
Oh,
Like, you can't just go, I'm so mad at what we did. I'm done being a fan. It's like, yeah, you can say that as like an offhand comment and frustration.
Yep.
If you do it, it's the worst thing I've ever seen.
yeah, no, I lose all
The
respect.
worst.
Immediately, I lose all respect to anybody. Like, it's fine. Like, we all make those fucking statements of like, I'm so fucking done, dude. I'm done. But if you don't wake
Yeah.
up the next day and come back and be like, man, fuck these guys, but we're still gonna get it done. It's like, sorry. I like at that point, I don't want your opinion on like the team fandom. I don't.
Yep. Well, there was one guy who posted in the Pacers subreddit, I'm leaving the Mavs after Luka left for the Pacers. Can you guys tell me all about your history? And a guy, but you can go find it on your own because you'll probably leave us in 10 years. I was like, thank you. Like, people were not in there just going welcome with open arms. They were like, bro, that's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah.
why would you do that and then announce it on Reddit to us?
I
Like,
know. Like,
we're not
oh,
gonna hug you.
no.
Like,
You're
put in
thinking,
some lumps.
like that's the thing that gets me every time is like I get if you tried to look and can't find it, fine.
Yeah.
It does not take much to find out the information that you're looking for with a decent mind in a Google search.
Yep.
That's it. Read the
Yep.
Wikipedia page. There's 20 million fan history videos on TikTok and on YouTube. Like, that's put it. If you care, you'll put in the work. You will look
Yeah.
up the shit on your own. Like, that's all there is to it.
And Lunar made a point on YouTube. He said if he thinks it's fine for someone to leave a fandom out of dissatisfaction with the fandom, it's all games in the end from the fans' perspective. If you're not having fun, why stay? Honestly, I can't even imagine it. The only way I could imagine doing that is if I legitimately just was tired of the league or the sport.
Yeah, same.
I don't think I could ever cheer for that sport again in the same way.
Yeah.
Like for another team. I can't imagine doing it in football, basketball. I just can't. I mean, in league, I've had to do it, and it's felt very strange.
Yeah.
It's just not as fun. And that's why I just can't relate to it and can't even imagine it. And I know there are people who do that
Yeah.
and it works for them. And I guess like if you're still participating, that's good. But there's just a lot of people out there who can't just can't relate.
No.
And I mean 90% of sports fandom is not going to be able to get behind you doing that.
Yeah.
It's just how it is.
And I don't think esports fans truly comprehend that the opinion that is shared, and that's not to insult Lunar's opinion at all. You are perfectly entitled to have that.
Yeah.
We cannot relate. Paul and I think very much the same way on this matter, as do most sports fans in the United States. It is just a cultural difference that if you're not tapped into, it's going to be impossible for you to get why we would do this or why we would look down upon somebody for leaving their fandom rather than sticking it out. Like, I get why that's a foreign concept to people, but we have what we've said, I don't think we can explain it better. And it's either going to connect with you or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, that's fine. But my biggest thing is just people should not, when we look at you and be like, okay, fucking pussy for leaving. You could be mad. We ain't gonna care. It just is what we're gonna keep staying here. It's that just is what it is.
It's very tough to actually sit there and respect somebody doing that. I just can't imagine.
I can't. No.
I mean, I cheered last year was probably the dirtiest thing I've done in sports was cheering for NC State in their Final Four run, but that's because I have family all in the mountains of North Carolina who are Duke, NC State fans. So there are times where they'll persuade me to eventually go, I hope you're happy in the end. And I'm not a complete jerk to them. But for the Duke family, I just have never been able to overcome my immense hate and disdain for that school and want of them to lose and laugh at them. So I just can't get over it. But there's sometimes I'll let a rival have it. And literally said me once a year with my in-laws and the Chiefs. Honestly, I've never given in to them. I always mock them. And I tell them I'm mocking them simply because they win too much and they're too cocky and they have a good time. They don't need my validation. And they're like, I guess that's fair. So I give them a hard time because they give me a hard time for my team losing. So if they lose once, I go, well, winning the AFC doesn't matter to me. You lost to the most important game. That's what you do.
Wait, this is a wild revolution. John is a student at NC State. He's part of the Wolfpack.
That's crazy.
That's wild. That's fucking wild. Dude. Oh my God.
That's funny. Yeah, they hired Will Wade, and I told one of my friends, goes, you scared? Will Wade got LSU up quick. And I said, brother, I'm so happy. I hope Will Wade has them winning games for the next 3 years. So for the next 10, I can watch them on probation and laugh. Anyway, you're a terrible person. I was like, I hope he cheats every step of the way to get them better.
Oh, God.
I wish him the worst. And it was even better because a day ago I was making fun of Will Wade to my friends because McNeese plays Clemson, and I was like, he's not beating Clemson. The ACC is so much better than a stupid McNeese State team. And then a day later, he gets hired to the ACC, and I was dead. I was like, see, he tried to leave McNeese for the ACC. He went to one of our bum schools for coaching at McNeese, and he told him before the tourney starts. That's how bad they are.
Oh god, dude. NC State too. The campus that you have to drive a mile and a half just to get to your classroom.
Is that really how it is over there?
NC
It's
State.
bad, bad.
Okay, it's not bad to be fair. Like Raleigh is a great like city. It is just like a very spread out city, and it's just like the entire campus is like it's the opposite of NYU. Okay, everything in NYU is within like 10 blocks walking distance of itself. Is packed on top of it. It's packed together. Okay. Raleigh is so fucking spread out. And NC State, you have to drive so goddamn far to get to anything. Okay. And it's not like, oh, you have to drive far because it's designed to go around. It's like, no, you have to drive city blocks far to get there. It's the dumbest fucking thing ever. It's so dumb.
So funny. So funny. That's the best too, because like I went to Chapel Hill and Durham when I was in it was like towards the end of middle school. My dad took me to just go to both campuses. I got to walk on the court of like the Dean Dome
Oh,
and Cameron Indoor. I sat on Duke's bench, like where the players sit. Because my dad just walked up to Cameron Indoor, looked at a worker, and went, "Can we go in there and just take photos on the court?" He went, "Sure." And we had to take our UNC stuff off
yep.
to like go onto Duke's campus. And it was hilarious. I was like, I don't want to take it off because I was, a 14-year-old or something, or 13. So I was stubborn, and I was like, I don't like these people. I'm not taking it off. And he went, You'll love this when you're older. And I took it off, went in there, and I was like, yep, I love that when I'm older. So cool I did that. But then I've never been to NC State, and I'd always wondered why he didn't take me there on our like day of going around the triangle. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. He was like, I'm not taking you to there. It's so weird.
Look, I will just say this. I'm high on Duke's campus, always have been.
hmm
Wake Forest is criminally underrated.
Is it?
Criminally underrated. It's in a shitty part of town. The campus itself, beautiful. Winston-Salem,
I bet.
really use some work.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
Oh, Winston-Salem in general needs help.
Yeah, needs a little bit of help.
That's weird.
For
They're a
sure.
business school.
Oh, but no, but the thing is, everybody goes there for business school and like goes elsewhere. But it's
Goes
like,
away.
but NC State or not NC State, Wake Forest was like my number one choice had I stayed down in North Carolina to go to grad school because that campus is just unreal. Absolutely, like it's not Duke Hogwarts level, but it's nice. It's so
That's
nice.
funny. I I can see though a business school, leaving the rest of its city in absolute shambles and trash, because all those businessmen go there, learn how to take poor people's money, and then leave. It makes sense.
Boy, do I have Coastal Carolina stories that we can get into at some other
Oh,
point in time. So I nearly went to Coastal Carolina because they're one of the I think like 17 schools now that offers professional golf management. And my mom was always super worried about me going to Coastal Carolina, and I couldn't figure out why for the longest time because I wasn't a big partier in high school. And Coastal Carolina is like the party
Is it?
school. That's not a like if it's not a D1 school, but like every white girl
Yeah,
there is doing coke on a daily basis. Like it's
that's
that level. Like put it this way, the club that I worked at, my con, it is IUP times 50. IUP is a fucking like speck of dust compared to Coastal Carolina. It's nuts. So the club that I worked at my sophomore year, one of the members, Dave Kluger, was friends with Dustin Johnson, who I'm sure you know the name Dustin Johnson now that you follow golf a little bit.
yep.
He graduated from Coastal Carolina, but nearly flunked. I'm not sure if he didn't officially flunk out, but he got kicked off the team once or something like that because he was just like partying nonstop.
Wow.
Big druggie in Dustin Johnson. So he would go down to Carolina all the time. This is like just after Dustin Johnson got done with school. and they just do lines of coke all the time together, like just nonstop. This guy's like
Yeah.
40, might I remind you. Like a 40-year-old dude
Oh
from
my
middle of nowhere
gosh.
fucking Pennsylvania going down to party with like early 20-year-olds. And
That's
so he
crazy,
goes
bro.
down. They buy Maseratis together. Okay. Dave Kluger, the member of the club that I'm at, does a line off the dashboard and 2 minutes later proceeds to crash the car into a light pole, totaling it.
No.
Yes. And he comes back the
No.
week after and is telling some of the staff that he's like chill with and is just chuckling about it the entire
Oh
time.
my
Doesn't give a
goodness.
shit. Meanwhile, he's just casually dropping that he's doing all this shit with Dustin Johnson. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? I think 2 years later, Dustin Johnson's then dating Paulina Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky's daughter. And
Yeah.
like the two of them are out partying all the time. It's like, dude, Coastal Carolina and the people that come out of that school have fucking problems. But if you ever get a chance to spend a weekend with them and you have a little bit of self-control and cannot indulge in the full habits that they do, you will lose
Yeah.
your fucking mind. It is unbelievable. Like that is Coastal
Good.
Carolina is the secret party school of the world that nobody fucking like knows about unless like you've been there. The Chanticleers is their mascot. It's a fucking rooster. It's the stupidest thing in the world.
I mean,
But
I know they're Wild Boys because their football team all does, what is it? The one hairdo
yeah,
with the back.
the
I
mullet,
can't remember what. Yeah, they all
the
do
Joe
the
Dirt
mullet.
mullet.
And
Dude.
like it's crazy too because everyone who goes there, if they're a white boy, gets a mullet. And that's when I was like, nah, they have some weird cultish stuff going on over
They
there.
do,
Like,
but they fuck.
and
They
it's drugs.
fuck.
Drugs.
Oh
While they're all
god,
doing it.
it's so bad. It's so
That's hilarious too because they're known as like the premier mid-major football program.
They're known as like one of the best golf schools in the entire
Really?
world. Yeah, like because they're in
That's
Myrtle
funny.
Beach. Like they're they're not they're in Conway, South Carolina, which is like literally just like a drive down the highway from
Okay.
downtown Myrtle Beach. And downtown
That's
Myrtle
pretty
Beach gets
awesome.
wild. So it's like, oh my god. It's amazing. Anyways, we got off topic. I don't know how
We
ended
did.
up I don't know how we ended up here again. But
Just talking about the beauty of sports.
oh
Really.
god.
It happens.
Fucking love Myrtle Beach. I think the sign up for the World Am that I played in last year that I'll be playing in again
Mhm.
this year opens up I think next week. I got to sign up for it. That'll be a week
Nice.
down in Myrtle.
That'll be nice.
But I'm trying to think. Oh, I want to get back to North America. Now that we went on the positive spiels, we kind of
Yes.
covered T1, but also randomly tangented way off topic. We still don't have an announcement, by the way, on like the format changes or anything else like that yet, which I thought would have came today.
Yeah. Well, there's also no matches on LoL Esports at all,
No, so
like out yet.
so it starts on April 5th in 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
Media Day is next Wednesday. So I'm assuming the announcement has to come prior to Media Day. To Lunar's point, if it comes on Friday, I'm terrified. Because no good news ever comes on Friday. Friday's the day where you dump the news that you don't want to talk about or don't want to fully address to kind of like gloss over things, which is what I'm scared that they're going to do because they've got a lot of shit to address when it comes to this league and some of the problems. They're going to try and gloss. I'm calling it now, okay? Because I've been right on every prediction so far this year. We're getting single round robin best of threes to get back in line with Fearless, or some people have been saying we're going to do the LEC format. That's the other thing that I've seen people like suggesting, that you do like the single round robin best of ones into ton of best of threes and a few best of fives.
Interesting.
But I'm guessing
I kind of liked the one where they called each other out.
what?
I liked. Wasn't there an idea they had, but they never did?
No, that still is split
LTA?
three. That still is split
That
three.
is split
That's
three.
not
Oh
because
yeah,
that's all
that's the
best of
one they're
threes.
doing split
That's not
three. Yeah,
changing at all.
I liked
It's
that idea.
same.
Okay.
But like for spring, I don't know what they're gonna fucking do on this. But like, dude, we need some changes.
Yeah, they. I mean, yeah. They're. My guess is one. You would think any international league would be on Lowly Sports yet, so that needs to happen soonish. There's no games on there. Like if you pick all the times,
The LCK
I don't
just
know.
announced their schedule today.
Did they?
Yeah, first game by the way of the LCK, Hama Life Genji.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
really good
banger.
one. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. LPL, I mean, I
I don't
think
know. I don't care.
LPL's just done for Americans now. And you think LEC and LTA would be sitting here like, hey, let's really start getting the ball rolling and get people excited. But I don't know. I don't think they're moving that quick. And you are right. They have a lot to answer to pretty soon here. So that'll be interesting. Because they're going to have to, more than likely, they do exactly what you said. They gloss over 90% of this stuff because it's not,
Not
a
good.
lot of it is not good. And we just try to move through this season. I really hope there's no lull in the spring to summertime
So
because
there's
we
definitely
can't have that.
not because of Esports World Cup.
Oh, I was meaning viewership, my bad.
Oh yeah.
For LTA, that we don't get the consistent, drop of
There's no way
hype.
we don't see the drop again, right?
Probably
Like
not.
what have we done to buck
No.
the trend? Like nothing has changed, so why would we assume that anything's going to be different?
Yeah.
Like so I'm sitting here I'm terrified. Do we know the location of MSI yet? We know it's in Vancouver, but I'm saying do we know the venue itself and when tickets go on sale?
No. No.
Let's see.
But you
MSI.
can start buying hotels if that counts for anything. You can buy a hotel that you possibly might have to get rid of if you don't get tickets. I mean, you'll get tickets because I don't know if Vancouver can sell out.
Yeah, there's no information. We just know it's June 27th to July 12th. So
Dude,
we are
talking about venues and things. Sorry, do you care if I?
no, go ahead.
Okay, made me think of the Valorant thing.
Oh yeah.
What is going on? I don't know, man. The decision makers are just up to no good.
So the FlyQuest, I don't know what Park Mom is, whether they're like social media or what it is. I get their point of like the 4,000 seat venue is going to be better for group stage because they don't sell out. Like Valorant international events like that do not sell out their group stage all that well. But
Okay.
people show up for like the final matches. Have a 2,000 seat venue then for the first bit of it, and then have the
Yeah.
final 3 or 4 days in the main thing in the cathedral. Like, there's no way you can tell me that you can't sell all that shit out and make it profitable. There's no way.
Yeah.
And you've known that, like, we're dealing with 3 years in advance of knowing the countries and the cities and the locations at this point. Like,
Mhm.
what are we doing? Like, what's the plan here? Like, I don't get it. I don't get why. Like, why is it when Riot decides to do events like that, it feels like we're getting the short end of the stick when it comes to venues and capacity and things there. But then when teams do it, T1's doing a 15,000 person homestand. Koi's doing a 12,000 homestand for a weekend. K Corp is doing their own specific place, so it's only 3, but it's their place that they own, so it's different. Like, how come teams can get this right, but Riot seemingly can't? Granted, they have to do it for a longer period of time, sure, but you've also been running events for 12 or 15 years now. So I don't buy that.
Yep. It's very, very awkward that they're still doing it the way you were saying. Like they're so bad at getting things to ramp up at all. It's kind of insane they can't ramp up at all, to be honest. And I get it's all in one weekend, so that makes it harder because you'd have to change venue, and that might be a little weird with moving items and workers and all that, and it could be expensive. But I just don't understand how a lot of teams and organizations in league have figured out how to do their homestands and make them profitable, but Riot is like, we just can't make an arena profitable.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't get it. It's like I get tickets can be cheap. If you're making money on merch and food and beverage, guess what? You can make up for the tickets being cheap
Yeah,
easily.
I guess it's in line with Riot though. What are things other than the game of League of Legends that Riot does outside of it that make money? I mean, because when they do Arcane, they're not really making money off Arcane. They're blowing a lot onto that. They struggle to find a way to do something fiscally responsible that still makes it better, you know? It's one big struggle they've had, I've noticed, in a lot of things. So it makes sense in esports. It's the one thing they can't figure out. Because esports seems to be their, like, not really even passion. They're like weird side child that
We're the
they,
mistress.
yeah, yeah, that they don't even truly love, but it's semi-valuable to them, so they keep it around, but they can't figure it all out easily. They've been really struggling at it, and they've just decided to keep doing it the way they've been doing it and not really change much about their process, but they'll change the format, you know? They'll tell you to change the outfit, but even though they're running out of love for it and it's not really worked out great for them monetarily and like in-person events and things like that, they don't look any deeper. And it's very strange to me
Yeah, it was
because they'll
on.
do anything to make the online thing better.
It pissed me off when the one Riot lead tweeted out like his first stand thoughts, and he was like, "I don't know if we can have fan culture like I'm seeing here in Korea in the West."
I know,
I'm
bro.
like, bro, half those
I
people
know.
were fucking French. What do you mean?
I know.
What are you talking about? And also, I could literally, oh, dude.
And he tried to then change it to like, oh, I met in A. And
Wait, did
I
he
was
actually
like,
change that, or was that just my words?
oh, was that just your words? My
I
bad.
I said I assume that he's talking about NA to
Okay,
give him
my
benefit
bad.
of the
My bad.
doubt.
My bad. That is on me. But but I was thinking kind of the same you were thinking. And even if we go down that route, like cuz that's the only way to make that statement make sense is
Yes.
to take that route. Even that is an insane take to say I just don't think North America like I don't think Americans can get into a sport that well. It's like, how is that the conclusion you made? I mean, I get they don't go outside much and they probably never leave their LA bubble. So that's the reason he probably thinks that. Is that the average LA person isn't like the average Midwesterner or really Southerner, you know? So it's way different. But all that man would have to do is take a flight to Texas. And
Go
it
to
would
a high school game.
completely yeah, completely change his mind that you can't grassroots build something like that. I mean, go watch what high schools were doing with Rocket League back in the day.
Still are.
True. They'll have gymnasiums going crazy for Rocket League. But I just don't get it. Hey, I mean, dude, the more he wrote, I was like, bro, this is almost worse to me than the 100 Thieves thing. Maybe just because I wasn't a 100 Thieves fan. Because he actually has like real power over this like whole genre, you know? Like at least the 100 Thieves guy is just a president of a team who then instantly came out and said that statement was really bad, my bad. Like and the rest of the org was like, yeah, he didn't mean it like that. That's really bad, my bad. His bad. Like we'll never do that again.
Yeah.
This guy like was like, hey, I think this thing that's pretty bad about League of Legends, threw it in a statement, threw it out there and just went, yeah, that's what I believe. And he has real power over everything that happens in esports. And we're just supposed to sit there and go, hmm, that's good. That
You,
makes me happy.
you know what just clicked in my head?
What?
our whole conversation earlier about how we just like fucking hate people that just like give up on shit. And like it's one thing to bitch about it, but like don't actually like
Yeah,
give up. That's why we hated that statement so much from him.
true.
Because he was
Probably.
telling people to give up. And like you can sit here and claim all you want,
Yeah.
but like that's why. But I think this one's worse because it's like you're just you're just fucking
What's his
blind to
name
it.
for the statement again?
Jacob Toft Anderson.
Okay, so if I Google that on, or if I search that on Twitter, it'd come up.
Maybe.
Because I want to read it
Or
again
Malk.
just to try to see.
Malk is his name.
No. I mean the 100 Thieves guy.
Yeah, Malk.
Or not the 100 Thieves guy. My bad. The other
Oh,
guy. The
Riot
Riot
guy?
guy. Yeah.
Don't know. Don't know on that one. You'd have to go you'd have to start scrolling back. Nutty Milk just said, I give up on the Vikings for not signing Rodgers. Brother, I'm about to go get fucked up this weekend in celebration to the fact that we're not getting Rodgers. What do you mean? JJ's my man. He is the future of our program. I did not want Rodgers touching our franchise with a 10-foot fucking pole in any way, shape, or form. At all.
Yeah. And also, yeah, what you said about the 100 Thieves guy, that was exactly why we
It
thought
makes
that was
sense
bad,
now,
and
but
everybody
we
else
never said that back in the moment.
Yeah.
But we didn't connect that dot.
But he also, like, I mean, there was a lot bad about what he said, but he did come out and apologize for it,
Yeah.
which I can at least respect. That's the issue I have with Riot, is they don't even, like, they'll drop just the worst thing you can read for a guy to say who has any real power, and you'll just be like, oh, he means that. And then they,
Yeah.
like, don't come back and clarify it or say my bad on that. They just go, yeah, it's just what I think. What do you want me to say?
By the way, question for you, since we're 3 weeks away from the LTA starting up again. Have you watched any of your org's content, sir?
SRs?
Yeah. You guys have been putting out content. Have you watched any of it, or are you a
No.
fake fan?
I'm a fake fan in that regard.
Wow.
I'm in March Madness mode, I'm sorry.
Fair. Because you guys put out a bot lane duo, but 200 ping video. And then Seo's first day as a Shopify fan.
Okay.
You got content out there, brother.
dear.
You were asking for it, and you're not watching it. Why are you not watching it? I put
That's on
my,
me, I guess.
my org puts out content, and you know what happens? I got the fucking main account, and people at the org being like, "I watched your reaction to it." And it's like, you're a fake fan, Paul. I hope you know that.
I could be. I accept that. I accept I could be a fake fan. I mean, I watched the Wild Turtle video because I love Wild Turtle.
Yeah.
Although, can we be fair to me that it's hard to find this content when it sits at 250 views? Like, come on, bro. I don't even. What am I supposed to do? Look at their YouTube every day and hope to find. Also, when you search Shopify, you have to type out Shopify Rebellion League of Legends.
Yeah.
If you type SR LOL, it doesn't come up. Their YouTube.
I mean, to be fair, you're dunking on views. My video today, sir, is sitting at a whopping 610 views.
True.
So
Lunar made a
don't-
good point. I didn't even use that excuse. Leave me alone. I have a kid.
Oh,
And guess who
fuck
watches
you.
your content and
Fuck.
comments on your content and engages with it. Sorry, I don't watch my own teams because I watch yours.
You know what? That's an acceptable answer. That's the one that I'll take. Not the kid. Okay, that's an excuse. But watching me over that, fine. I'll take that. That's my ego
Thank
right
you.
there. I'll
Thank you.
fine. Paul didn't give birth. We gave birth to the child. Tell that to Sam.
I mean, it's just you gotta give me a break. The Shopify content, I shouldn't say that publicly, but I was gonna say about it, but it's something.
Dude, okay.
It's that kind of content I end up doing this. And I know this is mean to say, but it's the kind of content where I end up doing stuff like this. That's interesting. Oh, the video's over. And click to a new video. Like, I just don't find some of the stuff they're posting these days. Like, I don't know what I would find interesting, to be honest, anymore in my league team's content. But the, like, I don't know what you call them, what is it called? Videos. Um, they're all like, what is that called? It's not gotcha.
The YouTube TikTok
Like,
style, like
yeah, but
the
it's
Mr.
worse. They're
Beastification.
like,
I bought 2 Lamborghinis
yes,
and I'm gonna crash
yes,
them into each other. I've got 2 League
yeah,
of Legends players and we're gonna force them to play on 200 ping.
yes. It's like, okay, I get it. They're like, they have a bunch of mechanics that I'm like, I don't know. This just feels like you're just doing what you're hoping is, oh, gimmicky. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. They feel like gimmicky videos. It doesn't feel like something to actually get me connected to the team. You know, the first day for Seos one, I should have watched. That's on me. I missed it.
You
But
dick.
also, I like sue me. My team hasn't played in a month. I almost forgot they existed. My bad. Like, I got to watch them play. Let me count it up. They played 2 there, 3 there, and 2 more. I watched them play a whopping 3 plus 2 plus 2 games. 7 games. There's more. Well, there isn't. That's equal to the days of the week that I watch them play League of Legends games that are all like 30-ish minutes a pop. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry that didn't make me a huge Shopify Rebellion fan. Like, it didn't just make me go, man, that was the best thing I ever did.
Look, I'll be honest with you, that's the number one thing that I'm looking for them to address with this update
Being a
this
fan of a
week.
bad team is tough. I'm gonna say it. It's tough. I did not get a lot of content, if I'm being real. That wasn't neutral, you know? And I don't really cheer for TL when they go overseas the way you do. You've always known me to be one of those
Yep.
people who looks at
Yep.
everyone around him and goes, I hope you all fail. That's just how I am. And it's how I probably always will be. And it's a weird thing I can't shake.
No,
But I
that
did try to cheer for this TL.
but look, you don't follow sports that have that like kind of pause moment in them to like all come together. It's
Yeah.
That's what like this for me, the reason why this is so natural for me is like what I was saying about the Ryder Cup earlier. I have my golfer and Tiger that I'm watching like a hawk and seeing every shot, tracing every moment, trying to watch him climb up the leaderboard. But the moment you say, hey, we have this one tournament every 2 years where it's America versus Europe, and I just
Yep.
need you to pull for America for just for a week of shit talking. That's no problem. I can do that. I can put on the American flag. I can watch people say fucked up Trump shit around me, but brush it off for the time being. We got a mission to focus on, folks. We're gonna do this first. We'll deal with your shitty ass
Yep.
comment in a bit. Olympics as well. Olympics.
Yep.
It's like I see somebody wearing an American flag on a day-to-day basis. Immediate red flag. Walking the other direction. I don't know if I'm safe at all. Second, I hear an Olympic theme coming on, the dun dun dun, dun. Immediately stand up. Flag comes out. I'm ready. I'm right there
Yep.
with you. That same guy that I was scared of and about ready to call the cops about 5 hours earlier. We're hugging and
Yep.
drinking a beer together, and it's time.
It's true. I mean, that does bring you together. I think internationals, like, I got crushed on because my team stunk in a lot of them. And even the one time they did well, like, people just dumped on it not mattering. And everyone else was like, well, we did well at internationals, basically like winning the split, so it counts for something.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, you didn't win it. And they'd be like, well, we did better than you, so it counts. It counts. It's a banner, pretty much. So you suck. And that's when I decided, you know, the NA is not a come together region. NA is if my team outdoes yours, get wrecked, loser. And that's just how you have to be.
Kinda.
IMO.
Kind of.
I
I
mean,
agree with that.
you're a rare breed in that sense that you will actually just support everybody.
I mean, it just
You'll even support people who downplay 100 Thieves, like not downplay, but like say, I don't trust them on the stage. I just hope they don't go at all.
yeah.
And you'll still support their team after they say that to you. I could not do that. I'm not humble enough. I would sit there and I would look at them and I'd be like, well, your team blows hard, and I'm gonna watch them blow even harder. And I would just sit there and upsettedly watch them. Which I will say, TL fans though, they never really
No,
talk that much
TL fans
about
didn't
it.
say much because
They're pretty chill, so it's easy to cheer for them, and I like APA and Yon.
yeah.
They just looked like they had no signs of life, so it was what it was.
Yeah. After that first day, it was just like Colin and I were talking about that
Yeah.
earlier. He's like, they finished the exact same. It's like the way that they finished was not the same. It is
Yep.
one thing to get your first win on the first day and then lose everything else afterwards. And for K Corp to start off shitty and rebound in the way that they did. Like it is drastically different. Like the last thing you want is to close it out on a winless stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be real
Yeah.
with you. I know there are some people that want TL to remain the same, and I agree. I want them to remain the same. But dear God, do they need to bring in a 6-man? They need somebody to push them at this
They
point.
do.
Because I think they're in for a world of hurt in split 2 if they play like they did without Spawn there, and Spawn's not consistently like coaching them because he just has to be back home for various different things.
Yeah. I don't. They're gonna have to see how that experiment plays out for them, but I don't think it's going to go great. This whole him going back and forth, I don't think it's gonna work.
No. It might work for a bit, and there will be like moments where he comes back and like you see blips. But I think like
Yeah.
that constant up and down roller coaster of it will eventually become a bigger problem.
Yep.
So, but
It's
it
just
needs to
not.
be on the back of somebody else stepping up though. We can't have FlyQuest fucking collapsing after they stream a single scrim. Which by the way, we're now in the off season, quote unquote, for the next 3 weeks. Okay. Where's my stream scrims?
Dude, they did it once, and that is another thing where it felt like a gimmick, bro. Like they did it one time. I liked that and I watched it. Like that legitimately had me engaged as a fan, and no team has decided to do it again. That's crazy. That's very funny.
Bro, I swear to God, Luna just popped a nut. Oh, that hurts so bad. Oh, that hurts so bad.
Dude, today when the sirens went off, my dog's afraid of lightning. So it was like lightning outside, and we're trying to get her asleep, and he's just walking around the house barking as loud as he can, having like a mental breakdown as a dog. It was so
Oh
funny.
my God, dude. Oh, I'm not trying to look like I'm diddling myself on fucking camera, but dear God, does this hurt? Fuck.
You think
No, I'm
think
fine.
it hurts as bad as NA viewership, or?
Why? This is already a low blow. You didn't have to go lower. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, good day.
Okay, good thing I didn't
It's an
stand up
evil
too
laugh,
far. She
John.
actually tore a
It's an
hole
evil
right in the
laugh.
nuts. She tore a hole in these pants. Oh, great.
It's evil.
But no, anyway, no, I just wanted to say this is like our final like closing thing. First and foremost, somebody mentioned about Fearless Draft. I think you and I are both on the same page when it comes to like Fearless good in all aspects. Like no negative at all. But on the stream scrims point, there were so many people that were like, oh, well, we would stream scrims when it didn't matter. Okay. Whenever we're not in the middle of the season and giving out strats and all this, because we genuinely believe it is a good content avenue for fans. We are now 3 days in. I shouldn't be holding up both at the same time. It looks like 6. We are 3 days in, okay, to this 3-week stretch of no fucking games. you better, like, I don't give a shit whether you think other orgs are going to be doing shit or not. You better be putting out your own content, and a fuck ton of it, given where viewership was. You should be streaming a scrim every week, or somebody at minimum should be streaming a scrim every week for the next 3 weeks. You should have a YouTube video out every week. That's not just a gimmicky thing either. Like, sit down and have a conversation. Like, have a one-off like interview with somebody from your org about how things are going. Shout out to Cloud9. To their credit, they're killing content. Cloud9 is the only org that is like stepping up in that way and absolutely crushing it. But like, all these orgs went over to fucking Korea. They left without us even knowing it until BNK Fear X tweets out, "Oh, thank you for the boot camp." So you just locked yourself in a fucking room and played all day? Nobody recorded any of your games and put them up as like highlights and like an update at the end of the video on like where you're sitting and like
or something.
What?
Are they streaming a lot or something?
No. Every night that I was live, I mean, granted they're in Korea, it's a different time, to be fair. But every night that I was live, I tried to raid a 100 Thieves player that was playing. That was live streaming. Sniper was streaming one day.
Dang.
Now, maybe it's just bad timing. Sure. Whatever. But, like, I don't, you got to put out something. You got to do something. And if we do nothing over these next 3 weeks, teams, you don't want to know how mad I'm going to be.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we'll see.
Anything else I'm missing?
We'll see. No. I think that's everything.
Oh, I got a cool announcement. Or a cool, like, not announcement, but just like cool thing that's happening. I got invited to speak at NYU about esports.
Oh.
At a panel with, assuming the people that are on the list go, it would be Greg Kim, formerly CLG, is now like out of the industry. One of the guys from Dignitas, who I know and really like within like their marketing department. And then me, they wanted like a fan media representative person there. And it's an honor that a professor and student would consider me to go speak to people about like the state of esports media within the landscape, all that, at my alma mater. I used to like be sitting in class at NYU running social media numbers for orgs and just like tracking social media data back in 2018. And now I'm going back to speak about esports.
That's awesome.
Content has somehow got this way. Will it be recorded? I don't know. I'll get more information on that. I just responded to the email today asking if I would do it. And I was like, they're like, let me know your availability. I said, tell me when. Tell me when. And if you think Disney's going to have an issue like with me going to speak at something like this, it's good for public PR. I will be able to get off work for the time that we're there. Plus, our new office is 8 minutes away walking from the campus. So I'll be on campus within 10 minutes. I can hop out of a meeting and be over there real quick. But I'll keep you all posted and put just like a half day off. Yeah, I'm going to take a half day. It's fine. But yeah, I'll keep everybody posted with whether it's going to be live streamed. I'd imagine it won't be live like in that moment. It's just going to be a student thing. They don't want to have to deal with like a live stream or anything else like that. But if I can get any clips from it or like behind the scenes footage, I'm going to try and vlog that day and like record everything on my phone and like kind of give people like a behind the scenes glimpse of things. But beyond that, that's pretty much it. I just wanted it was a really cool announcement.
That's a really big deal. That's cool.
I mean, it's a student conversation. And it's like, but it's an honor to be.
Yeah, that's very fun.
Yeah.
In fact, you were considered.
I'm excited for it.
That sounds fun.
But stream, that's it for us. We will catch you next week. In terms of my channel, you can expect that full video on T1, breaking down the timeline, the T1 fandom, and kind of highlighting some of the stuff that we talked about here, obviously. But that as its own dedicated thing. Coming up here soon. So if you're not subscribed on YouTube, be sure to do so. If you're not following the channel on Twitch, be sure to drop a follow below. And we will catch you on the next stream. Bye bye.